As far as computation, the mid-range, which we're going to finish here with, is the easiest to compute because it's just the average of the highest and lowest data points. Or the mean, excuse me, to be specific. That is, it's the high plus the low divided by 2, where it gives a very quick, rough estimate for saying where the middle is supposed to be. It's really good if you have a ton of data and you don't want to deal with it. It's kind of a lazy measure to get, and it has actually all of the same weaknesses as the mean, but even more magnified because it will gravitate directly towards those unusual data points. So with something like this, you kind of have to be sure that what you want is, or not what you want, but what you have is a fairly consistent and reasonable data set to be working with, and generally you don't see this one in practice except as a very brief, rough heuristic of what's going on. It's not something you should put a lot of faith into, which is why we're saving it for the end, and we're not going to do a ton with it, but it gets mentioned, so we'll do an example. Newsweek magazine examined factors that affect women's lives, including justice, health, education, economics, and politics. Using these 5 factors, the women graded each of 165 countries on a scale from 0 to 100. The 12 best places to be a woman and the 12 worst places are shown below. Find the mid-range among the 12 best. So again, this is the sort of thing where the mid-range might be useful because we're talking about a very large data set, 165 things based on multiple different factors. Here we're just focused on the 12 best, but point is, if you have a lot of stuff and you just need a quick way to get a sense of the overall story, you can give the mid-range a try before taking the problem more seriously and doing something else. But anyway, for this, if you want to get the mid-range, which I abbreviated MR there, it's not the most common notation, but I wanted to give it something because the mid-range doesn't deserve 2 syllables written out every single time. It's not that important or powerful. We'll have that the highest value here, which is according to the data Iceland at 100, which is to say just about perfect, is compared to the lowest there, which would be France at 87.2. Take that, divide it by 2, and as I said very easily, we get a mid-range there of 93.6. The power is simplicity. There's really nothing else particularly good about the mid-range except that it's easy to get. And here it's very easy to get, but you probably want to do something else. And speaking of doing something else, we still have one more section to get to, so let's jump in here and talk about our measures of dispersion as well.